All right. Okay, so today we are going to study about Streamlit. Okay, so far what we had been doing is we covered the basics of AI, and then we studied the lang chain, and then we also studied the advanced concepts of lang chain. So far we were able to create those backend code which was able to invoke LLMs, right? So now this module is very important in the sense that now we are going to create user interface for those applications. We already know how to create prompts, how to create model, and how to invoke the models, and how to parse the output, right? Now the next step is how we can give user interface to our applications. So far, whatever we were doing, I mean, that was either on the Google Colab or maybe on the VS Code, but there was no user interface. There was no GUI, right? So why GUI is important for any application? If you want to showcase this, I mean, whatever code you have written, whatever application you have created, if you want to showcase it to any stakeholder, to your client, to your boss, right? What you need is you should have a user interface uh, with it. Okay, you cannot simply go and show the code because most of the people or the business stakeholders don't understand the code. So they want to see the functionality. And in order to show the functionality, you should have a user interface which will be integrated with your backend code. And this Streamlit is one such Python library which will help you to accomplish or to create these user interfaces without much effort. Okay, so that's why we are going to study Streamlit. There are other user interface technologies, but they are so complicated that if we need to create some POC, right? And if we need to create something very quickly, we can use Streamlit Python library, okay, which has some widgets and modules and components which will help us to create the things very fast. Okay, so that's the purpose of this module. Okay, so the first question is, what is Streamlit? As I said, this is an open source Python library. All you need to do is you need to install this Streamlit library, and then you are good to go. And you have to use it to create your user interface. And it is very simple, very usable, and it has customizable widgets. And you can also deploy your Streamlit application even on the Streamlit cloud as well. So they also provide Streamlit cloud where you can create your Streamlit applications and you can deploy them on the Streamlit cloud. And then from from your client machine, we all can access those applications which are installed on the Streamlit cloud. Okay, other thing is, like, as you can see, this is data science oriented. So this particular Streamlit is more friendly with the data scientists because they give you those widgets, they give you those components which actually are very helpful for the data scientist, in the sense that you can create different kind of data, which, I mean, line charts, data visualizations. You can display the tables as well. As on the screen you can see, just these simple 4 5 line of code can actually create these kind of graphs. So this Streamlit is more like a data science oriented. Okay, and cherry on the cake, recently they have added couple of chat components, and that is why we are this is very much helpful for the Gen AI applications as well, because most of the Gen AI applications are nothing but the chatbots or the conversational applications where we actually ask the questions to the LLM and it responds back. So that chat functionality or the chat modules are also added into the Streamlit very recently. Okay, so that makes it very convenient to create chatbots. Okay, so in this module, what we are going to study uh, today, we are going to study how we can install and set up Streamlit. What are the core components of this Streamlit? What are the core widgets of this Streamlit by which we can create different things? Okay, how we can show message on the screen, how we can take input from the users, all those things. And then, as I said, number three, Streamlit chat components have been introduced, and how we can do streaming in the chat. Okay, so that component is also there, which is like st.write stream. Okay, because streaming is very important in these applications, because user should not be waiting for LLM to complete its response and then showing the entire response in one go. So what we want is, as and when the LLM is generating those tokens and words, they should be displayed to the user on the spot, right? One by one word, rather than waiting for the entire response to get generated and to be shown to the user. Okay, then we will see the Streamlit data flow, how the execution happens in this Streamlit and what are the problems with the Streamlit. And then we will go with the advanced topics like how to use the Streamlit session state to overcome these challenges. So we will go through the session state, which is very important, and then the callback functions and the Streamlit cache. And finally, we will create one GUI-based assistant with the help of Streamlit. Okay, is that clear? Any questions so far, guys? Yes, no, going good?
Going good, Surendra.
Fine.
Yeah. All right. So let me go to the application, the website as well. Just a second.
We are on VS Code. Correct?
Yeah.
No.
Can you
Now, yes.
see this browser now?
Now, yes, yes. Now.
Okay. So streamlit.io. So this is the website. Uh, and if you go to the docs part, you can see everything is being documented here. So I will go to the API reference. Okay. So in the API reference, you will see, there are display almost anything. You can display almost anything. So these are the widgets which are used to display the things on the application. For example, st.write, st.write stream, magic, text elements, markdown. So all these are called as widgets or components. Okay. NLU, stream text are data elements, data frames. As I said, this is more like a data oriented or the data science oriented. You can see we can create different type of graphs and we can display the data frames, column configurations, static tables, matrices, dicts, JSON, okay, chart elements, simple bar chart, line charts, maps, scatter plots on maps. So, I mean, this library is very rich. You can uh, display the plotly also, right? Plotly, matplotlib, all those are supported in the Streamlit. So what I was talking about is the chat elements. Okay, where is the chat elements? So in the chat elements, you will see how we can use the chat input. So it will create this chat-like interface. Chat input, chat message, okay, status container, write stream, which I was talking about. You can use the st.write stream to stream the tokens. Okay, so this you can go through if you have time. And I hope you can see the deck now. Can you see the PPT?
No.
Okay, so let me go to the VS Code. Okay.
Yeah.
So what the first step is to uh, get it installed. Okay. So what I will do, I will create new files, one underscore, only one, let's say, one dot Python. So first of all, what we need to do, as you know, we always create one virtual environment. Okay, so command for that is Python -m venv and the name of my environment venv demo. Okay, so this is my virtual environment. We'll click OK. I have created my virtual environment. It is available venv demo. Now I need to activate it. I will go into the venv demo /scripts/activate. This will activate my demo environment and I can see venv demo in front of my prompt. Okay, so now we are inside our virtual environment. Our project will use this particular virtual environment. So the first step to use Streamlit is pip install Streamlit. Pip install Streamlit, that's it. If I run that, it will install this library.
So this installation will be done in our machine or it will be in memory
No,
where it.
no, in my machine, right? This is my virtual environment. Sorry, virtual environment demo. And in the lib, I can see my library. Okay, so it will now show the Streamlit.
Okay.
Okay, so this is one directory in my machine, on my laptop, on my hard disk, on this path. The path is just inside my workspace.
So if I run any next project, so I will have to do also. I mean, it is not specific to the
Yeah,
machine,
I
like
mean
Windows.
reuse. If I want, I can reuse my this particular virtual environment into a different project. If my requirements are same, I can go into my project directory and I will activate there also. Okay.
Okay.
So then
Yes.
whatever libraries which are installed in this virtual environment, I can use those in that project. Okay.
Okay.
Now
Sure.
you can see this Streamlit and everything is there now,
Yes.
right? In this directory,
Yeah.
VNV demo. Okay. So now what I need to do is import Streamlit as ST. Okay. Now what I can do is I can write st.title, my first app. So I hope you all have configured this GitHub Copilot.
No, no, Smita.
I mean, I created one video for this one, right?
Yes.
It's there on the YouTube. So this is very useful actually. So get it,
Okay,
get
okay.
this installed with your VS Code. I mean, this is free. It was not free, but just 2 weeks back, I think Microsoft has made it free for everyone. Okay, so you should.
About this Visual Studio also, you make because I didn't follow the last couple of videos.
Mm-hmm. Sorry,
So
come again.
about the Visual Studio,
Uh-huh.
this idea. It's a free
Mm-hmm.
one or it is?
It's a free one, na? Visual Studio. This is free one.
Yeah.
VS
Okay.
Code. This is called Visual Studio Code. Okay, for
Okay.
coding.
Okay.
Okay, so with this Visual Studio Code, this IDE, you can integrate this thing. Only thing you need to do is just create your login ID and password for your GitHub, and then you are good to go. Na? This plugin will be there by default, and if I say open chat, it will basically start. I mean, you can chat on your existing file. If you have any questions, if you want any modification, you can ask it, write this code or modify this code. So along with the code which is there on the screen, this is 1.py, it will send the content of 1.py along with your prompt so that large language model can respond accordingly. Otherwise, what we were doing so far is we were copying and we were pasting on the chat GPT. Right now, in the same UI, you can do your debugging and all. Also, it is giving me all those suggestions, right? So st dot title, my first app. What I can also write is st dot write Okay, there is something called, okay, so we will just show you how to run. So once I have written my Streamlit code, what I need to do is Streamlit run 1.py. Okay, if I do that, by default it will open the application in my browser. Okay, you can see how simple it is, right? Let me make it side by side. Okay, so this is the first thing, how to install, how to set up, and how to run. Okay, everyone is clear? Now, is my
Yeah.
deck is my deck visible now?
Yes, your no VS Code is opening. So
Okay,
you just running that
okay,
Python
okay, got
script.
it, got it. So now what we are going to do is we are going to study about the core components. Okay, what are the core components of our Streamlit? So let me write it here. These are my core components, okay, which I will cover. So the first is display text. How we can display text on our application. So as I said, we have already seen this my first app and st.write are being used to display the text on the application. Right? We can see my first app. Here is our first attempt. Okay. Other than that, you can also use something called st.header, display text, st.subheader, display markdown. Okay. So rerun. So you can see if you want to show something on the screen on your application, you can use these widgets. Okay, all these are widgets. Whatever you are writing like st dot something, so title is a widget, write is a widget, header is a widget, subheader is a widget. Okay, all these are nothing but your widgets.
So Surendra, did you run also this file because we cannot see that?
I mean, you can see the, okay, you are not able to see the browser, is it?
No. Yeah.
Mhm. Sharing का बड़ा दिक्कत है, एक second, let me reshare. Tu, 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 tu. Okay. Now you can see, right? So this is visual code and this is my,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay. So I have made them side by side. Okay. So what I was talking about is st.title. So this is my title, st.write. It will write on the screen. This is usually st.write is usually used to display the output of any function or something. Okay. So here is our first attempt at using data to create table. st.header, this will create headers like that. If you say subheader, the text will be small. Okay, that's the size of the text will be small like that. So these are the different components, okay, which are being used to show the text on the application itself. Okay, we also have something called as the buttons. Okay, buttons. For example, st dot button. So this is my simple button. And what I can do is if st dot button, button with magic, etc. magic. Okay, so what I have done is I have created one button which will be shown on the screen. So let me rerun. Okay, so when I say st.button, simple button, it will create one button. Okay, and if I click that button, if st.button button with the magic, st.write magic. Okay, नीचे वाले का magic है. Okay, so if I click this one, what will happen if st.button with magic, this is the name of the button. If I click on that, it will write magic on the screen. Okay, make sense? So these are the widgets which are used to display something on the screen. Okay, so this displays the button on the screen. Okay, if you want, you can do it side by side, or maybe you can do it later. Similarly, we also have st.text, which is being used to display anything on the screen. Okay, so far so good. Are you guys trying side by side, or you want to try later?
We'll try later. I mean, I'll try later at least.
Okay, so second type of similarly we have checkbox and other widgets also. Now we will see the second type, which is interactive widgets. Okay, interactive widgets. So these are the widgets by which allow user to interact with the application by adding buttons, sliders, text inputs, and more. Okay, button we have already covered, right? Now let's see how a slider works. Let me copy paste the code. We have already seen the button. Okay, so this actually should be part of the second type of widget, which is interactive, where the user is taking some action. Okay, the first type was to display anything on the screen, but the second type is interactive widgets, where we are creating something where the user can actually interact with the application. His input can be taken. So when he click on this button, it says st.write magic. Okay. Second is this one. Duplicate ID. Okay, so what is this is a slider basically. Okay, so let me show you on full screen. So what we have done is, let me show you code first. Slider. So imported Streamlit, NumPy, and Panda. These are Python libraries. This is numerical. Whenever we are doing any mathematical operation, we use NumPy. Pandas is basically used when we are dealing with the tables and the data. Okay. So st.title plot function. Power is st.slider. So there is a widget called slider. Okay. So which will help us to give some value in the application. Select the power of x, 1 to 10, 2. Fixed axis, we have x-axis and we have y-axis. X-axis is numpy dot linspace minus 10, 10, 100, x ki power, x to the power something. Okay, so what we are going to do is we as a user are going to give the value of this power, okay, with the help of this slider. Okay, so user will decide what should be the power, what should be the value of the power, and that value will be given to my this function, which is y equal to x to the power something. Okay, and then what we are doing is we are displaying that particular line chart on the screen with x and y and x. Okay, is it making sense? Let me show you on screen. So this is my that graph. This is a plot function. So this is the power. Okay, this slider basically. So whatever value I select here, it ranges from 1 to 10. Okay, so if I select 3, then my y will be equal to x to the power 3. If this is 4, x to the power 4. Okay, so I am deciding the value of power from here. Okay, so if I take x equal to 1, what will do? It will create y equal to x, which is a straight line. Okay. If I take x equal to 2, it will be a parabolic function. Making sense? So this is the way by which a user can interact. The first way was to use the buttons. If you click on a button, it will say magic. Okay. If you want to do something on the click of the button, you can write your logic accordingly. This is a slider. User can give any value. I mean, you can think of, let's say you want user to decide the temperature of the large language model. Okay, so you can keep this range as 0 to 1 or 0 to 2, and then user can change the temperature of the application. Okay, if he want to be more creative, he can increase the temperature. If he want accurate results, then he will decrease the temperature. Making sense? Okay, so we'll move further. What else we have? We have text input. Okay, if we need user to provide some input, what we can do? Text input. Okay, you can see enter your name equal to st dot text input, enter your name. Okay, st dot write, and we are using write to display that particular input which has been taken from the user. So these are interactive widgets by which we are forcing user to give some input, and then we are doing something based on the user input. Okay, st dot write, again we use write, which we learned earlier, to display anything on the screen. St dot write. Okay, what else? And then we have data visualization. Okay, so let me this is data visualization widgets. Okay, so what I'm doing is again NumPy and Panda, and then I'm creating one data frame. Okay, data frame is something like table. Okay, and NumPy dot random, I am randomly creating these values. The columns are latitude and longitude. Okay, so I'm using map widget. So what this map widget will do, this is interesting. Okay, so this will create that map. Okay, if you want to show a particular map, what we are doing is we are by randomly we are creating latitudes and longitudes for these values. Okay, so we are taking these latitudes and longitudes, and then we are creating some random values across this one. Getting? So this is San Francisco, and this will create this map in the user interface. Okay, if you change this latitude and longitude to any other city, then it will create these many points across that city, across maybe Hyderabad or Chennai or Delhi. Okay, you can try this one. So this is to show map data visualization basically. Okay, after that, line chart we have already seen. So this is the line chart. Okay, X and Y. So you can see just by writing a few line of code, we can actually achieve lot of things. Now the model integration. Okay, we can also uh, create our models. We can use the models inside our code. We can invoke models and we can accomplish. So okay, so let me explain the code. What we are doing is we are using a function called load model. So what it will do is it will create the pipeline. So as you have seen earlier, we have discussed, if you want to use any Hugging Face models, they provide some library, the pipeline, with the help of which you can invoke a model. For example, here we are trying to invoke T5 model. This is the name of the model, and this is the task which we want to do. So we are going for summarization task. So we are using this pipeline. We have created this object, and this function will return me summarizer. Okay, so summarizer equal to load model. We are calling this function which will return summarizer, and then st.title text summarization app. User input, as I said, text area. We just used this text area right earlier. I'm using the same widget, st.text area, enter text to summarize, and st.button summarize. If user input, summarizer will be called, user input will be given maximum length. Okay, so we are invoking that particular object, and whatever summary which we are getting, we are displaying on the screen with the help of st.write. Okay, is it making sense? This is if this button, summarize button, is clicked, then only it will happen, and also there should be some user input which is being put on it. But in order to use it, what we need to do is we need to install our library, which is transformers library. Okay, so I will, no module found transformers. So what I will do, pip install transformers. Also, I think I need to install torch. Yes, transformers and torch is what we need to install. So these are building blocks. I mean, at first it may look a bit boring, but I think these will be very useful and handy once you learn them. It is taking some time.